Little boy performs in mascot costumes daily. The reason is heartbreaking. This little boy walks 10 kilometers every morning to perform on the streets in mascot costumes. Although it may seem innocent and good fun, the reason behind the performances will break your heart. In the bustling yet humble neighborhood of Gatotsu Brodo lived a boy named Reihan, a resilient 11-year-old who'd taken on the weight of the world far too early. His home, a modest structure that had seen better days, was filled with the quiet strength of his ailing mother, whose health had been in a steady decline for years. One balmy evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a golden hue over their small living space, Reihan approached his mother, who was resting on a threadbare but clean couch. Her eyes, once bright and full of life, now mirrored the fatigue and pain she battled daily. "Mom, how are you feeling today?" Reihan asked gently, taking a seat beside her, his young face etched with concern. His mother, attempting to muster a smile, replied, "I'm fine, dear. Don't worry about me." Her voice was weak, a whisper that barely filled the quiet room, betraying her words. Reihan sighed softly, knowing all too well that fine was a far cry from the truth. "Mom, you don't always have to pretend to be strong for me. I just want to help," he said, his voice cracking with emotion. The room fell into a comfortable silence, a mutual understanding hanging in the air. It was then that his mother turned to face him, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. "Reihan, my boy, I'm so sorry," she began, her voice laden with a sorrow that seemed to weigh her down. "For what, Mom? You didn't do anything wrong," Reihan replied, puzzled, reaching out to gently grasp her hand. "For all this," she gestured weakly around their humble home. "For you having to work instead of going to school, for you having to grow up too fast. This isn't the life I wanted for you, and it breaks my heart to see you carry such a heavy burden." Reihan felt a lump form in his throat, the reality of their situation hitting him anew. "Mom, you have nothing to be sorry for. Yes, I wish things were different. I wish you were healthy and I could be in school, but this, us being together, taking care of each other, that's what matters." His mother's eyes filled with tears, the dam finally breaking as years of guilt and helplessness came pouring out. "But it's not fair to you. You're just a boy, and you've had to become the man of the house too soon. If only I—" "Mom, stop," Reihan interjected firmly, yet with a tenderness that belied his years. "We're a team, remember? You and me against the world. I don't regret any of it, not if it means I get to be here with you." They shared a long, tight embrace, a silent vow passing between them to face whatever came their way together. As they pulled apart, Reihan wiped away his mother's tears, a smile breaking through the sadness. "We'll get through this, Mom, together." And in that moment, despite the hardships and the uncertain future that lay ahead, Reihan and his mother found a semblance of peace, their bond unbreakable, their spirits undeterred by the challenges they faced. As the first light of dawn crept over the skyline of Gatotsu Brodo, Reihan set out on his daily journey to work. Each step he took on the long walk to the costume vendor was driven by a purpose far greater than most could understand. In his mind, a whirlwind of thoughts and plans for the day ahead played out, a silent testament to the weight of responsibility he bore on his young shoulders. Reihan thought about the day's proceeds, calculating how much he would need to earn to cover their basic expenses and perhaps, if fortune smiled upon them, afford a small luxury to brighten his mother's spirits. "Maybe I can buy her those sweet mangoes she loves," he pondered, the thought bringing a brief smile to his face amidst the fatigue. The physical toll of walking over 10 kilometers every morning was not lost on him. His legs ached with the anticipation of the day's exertion, but the prospect of not being able to provide for his mother propelled him forward. "It's all worth it for her," he reminded himself, the love for his mother fueling his resolve. As he approached the costume vendor, his mind turned to the task at hand, selecting the perfect mascot costume for the day. "The SpongeBob costume always brings in the most money," Reihan considered, envisioning the smiles and laughter of the morning commuters, their generosity a testament to the universal appeal of the beloved cartoon character. Upon arriving at the vendor's stall, Reihan greeted the owner with a hopeful smile. "Good morning, Pac. I'm here for the SpongeBob costume. It really seems to brighten people's day," he said, his voice tinged with optimism. The vendor, a middle-aged man with a kind face, returned the greeting but with a hint of regret in his tone. "Ah, Reihan, I was hoping you'd come a bit earlier. I'm sorry, but the SpongeBob costume has already been rented out for the day. It's become quite popular, you see." Reihan's heart sank. The SpongeBob costume was his best bet for a successful day's earnings. He took a moment to compose himself, understanding the reality of the situation but still feeling the sting of disappointment. "I see, that's unfortunate," he replied, trying to mask his concern. "What about Dora the Explorer or Upin and Ipin? Do you have those available?" The vendor nodded, pointing to the costumes behind him. "Yes, those are still available. They're also quite popular, you know. Maybe not as much as SpongeBob, but they should still attract a good crowd." Reihan weighed his options, knowing that each choice carried the potential to impact the day's earnings significantly. "I'll take the Upin and Ipin costume then," he decided, a sense of determination settling over him. "It might not be SpongeBob, but I'll make it work. I have to." As he donned the costume, Rayan allowed himself a moment to envision the smiles and laughter he would bring to the faces of the morning commuters. Despite the setback, his resolve remained unshaken. Every smile, every laugh, it's all for her, he thought, his mind returning to his mother, the driving force behind every step and performance. With the Upin and Ipin costume securely on, Rayan set out to begin his day's work, each step taking him closer to fulfilling his promise to himself and his mother. The journey might be long and the work hard, but for Rayan, the chance to provide and to see his mother's smile made it all unquestionably worthwhile. Under the early morning sun that began to wash the streets in a soft golden light, Rayan donned in his Upin and Ipin costume started his performance. Despite the initial disappointment of not getting the SpongeBob costume, Rayan's spirit was undeterred. He knew the importance of his mission, to bring joy to the morning commuters and in doing so earn enough to support his mother. Rayan positioned himself at a bustling corner where the flow of people seemed ceaseless. He started with a lively dance, moving to the rhythm of a song playing from a small portable speaker he'd set up. His movements were exaggerated and humorous, perfectly in sync with the playful nature of the characters he portrayed. The fabric of the costume swayed with each motion, drawing smiles and curious glances from the passers-by. Before long, a small crowd had gathered, their morning routines momentarily paused to witness the spectacle before them. Children tugged at their parents' hands, pointing excitedly, while adults watched with a mixture of amusement and admiration. "Wow, look at him go! He's really good!" a young girl exclaimed. Her mother, equally captivated, nodded in agreement. "He is. It's not every day you see such dedication. Let's give him a tip," she said, reaching for her purse. As they approached Rayan to drop some money into his donation box, the mother complimented him. "You're doing a wonderful job, young man. It's heartwarming to see someone so committed to spreading joy." Rayan, though his face was hidden behind the costume, beamed with pride. "Thank you, ma'am. I'm glad I could make your morning a little brighter," he replied, his voice muffled but filled with genuine gratitude. Throughout the morning, Rayan continued his performance, incorporating different dance moves and interacting playfully with the audience. At one point, he mimed being stuck in an invisible box, eliciting laughter and applause from a group of office workers who'd stopped to watch. "Man, that's some talent you got there," one of the onlookers, a young man in a crisp business suit, remarked as he dropped a generous amount into the donation box. "It's not just the kids you're impressing, even us grown-ups are entertained." Rayan chuckled, grateful for the kind words and the contribution. "I'm glad to hear that, sir. I aim to bring a little bit of happiness to everyone, no matter their age." As the crowd eventually dispersed, continuing on with their day, Rayan took a moment to catch his breath. He felt a deep sense of satisfaction, knowing that his performance had touched the lives of so many, even if just for a brief moment. The donations collected were a testament to the impact he'd made. Later, as he counted the money he'd earned, Rayan thought about his mother. "This should be enough for those mangoes and a bit more," he mused, already anticipating the joy in his mother's face. The tiredness from the long walk and the hours of performing faded into the background, replaced by the anticipation of returning home to share the fruits of his labor. Rayan's day as a street performer, filled with dance, laughter, and heartfelt interactions, was more than just a means to an end. It was a reminder of the power of kindness, the joy of shared laughter, and the unwavering strength of a son's love for his mother. The interview between Rayan and Ada Ayu, the local news reporter from Compass TV, took place on a bright and bustling morning. The backdrop was the very street where Rayan performed daily, its vibrancy a testament to the young boy's resilience and spirit. Ida, having set up her equipment, turned to Rayan with a warm, encouraging smile. "Rayan, your performances have captivated not just those who passed by, but now potentially our entire audience. Tell me, how did you start performing on the streets?" Ida began, her tone inviting and genuine. Rayan, a bit nervous but bolstered by the thought of helping his mother, responded, "Well, it all started when my mom got sick. We were struggling and I knew I had to do something. Performing seemed like the only way I could make enough money to support us." Ida nodded, her expression sympathetic. "That's incredibly brave of you, Rayan. And how does it feel performing every day knowing you're doing this for your mom?" "It's hard, honestly," Rayan admitted, his gaze drifting for a moment. "But when I see people smiling and enjoying my performance, it gives me hope, and it reminds me why I'm doing this, for my mom." The conversation shifted to the more practical aspects of his life, which had intrigued many who'd become aware of his story. "You mentioned you had to drop out of school to support your mother. That's a huge sacrifice. How do you feel about that?" Rayan sighed, a mix of resignation and determination in his voice. "It wasn't an easy decision. I miss schools, my friends, learning, but my mom's health comes first. I hope I can return to school one day, though." Ida, moved by his maturity and sacrifice, delved deeper. "And the distance you walk every day to perform is quite far, isn't it?" "Yeah, it's over 10 kilometers one way. It's exhausting, but it's the only way I can ensure I have enough money for the day," Rayan explained, his tone matter-of-fact yet tinged with fatigue. As the interview progressed, Rayan shared more about his daily struggles, his dreams for the future, and his unwavering dedication to his mother's well-being. The story that unfolded was one of remarkable courage, love, and hope against the odds. Once the story aired, the community's response was immediate and overwhelming. Moved by Rayon's dedication and the family's plight, several citizens banded together to start a fundraiser. The campaign quickly gained traction, with donations pouring in from all corners of the community and beyond. The funds raised were beyond anything Rayon or his mother could have imagined. Not only were they able to move to a better living situation, but Rayon could also return to school, his dream of continuing his education now a reality. One evening, as Rayon and his mother sat in their new, more comfortable home, he turned to her, a smile spreading across his face. "Mom, can you believe it? I'm going back to school, and it's all thanks to the kindness of strangers." His mother, tears of joy in her hands, reached out to squeeze his hand. "I always knew there was good in the world, Rayon, and I'm so proud of you for everything you've done for us." The fundraiser not only changed their lives materially, but also restored their faith in humanity. Rayon's story, from the streets of Gatotsu Brodo to the hearts of the community, became a beacon of hope and a reminder of the power of compassion and collective action. If stories of grit and determination like this warm your heart, we encourage you to subscribe to our channel for many more like it.